Hello and welcome to the Emirates Arena here in Glasgow. We have the champions, Leicester Riders, taking on the Glasgow Rocks. With me is Mark Woods, and first of all, Mark, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And let's get on to the game. Big news for the Leicester Riders. Anthony Downing broken his jaw, out for the season. It's a huge blow for them.
Yeah, absolutely. A freak accident in practice just a couple of days ago. I'm told he'll fly back to the USA tomorrow to have surgery. Leicester yet undecided whether to replace him, but Rob Paternoster telling me just a short while ago, in his words, what a huge, massive blow this is for the team.
Well, it is, particularly as he's been the mainstay, really, of their offense in recent weeks. Not only does he score, but he facilitates for this team. Let's have a look at the two lineups, starting with the Glasgow Rocks. And the Rocks very much in top form at this moment in time. What have you put that down to, Mark?
Well, it's all about the defense. 5 wins in their last 6 games. And if you look at their record this season, 8 wins, 8 losses. And those defeats, they've conceded an average of 73 points per game. In the losses, 86. That speaks for itself. Over the last few games, they've just achieved some consistency. But can they do it again against a very good Leicester team?
Well, let's have a look at the Leicester Riders lineup, and obviously Downing is the big omission on this team list. A lot of extra pressure on Jorge Calvo, who will start in his place, and also Connor Washington coming off the bench. Yeah,
Calvo very much defensive-minded, but now on pressure on him to be more of a playmaker, and also more pressure perhaps on others to step up. Jay Cousinard, an average of 19 points during the Leicester Riders' 6-game winning streak. Can he put more points? Can Drew Sullivan put up more points? And can Riders keep that momentum going that they've achieved over the last couple of weeks?
Well, they're making their way out onto court, Leicester, and of course they have got the cup final a mere couple of weeks away, and it couldn't come at a worse time really for them. Just as they seem to be finding their control offensively, they have been a very much defensive-minded team right from the start, but in recent weeks we've been seeing the bigger numbers, and Downing very much a big part of that. But here we go. He's not here, and Hassan and Northern are, and they get us underway, and it's the veteran E.J. Harrison who starts the play for the Rocks. Here's Davis. Had a fantastic game against Sheffield, his former team, in a big win for the Rocks. Very psychologically important. Here's Northern going to work inside. Hassan did a good job there to deny him the space under the basket. There's Cousinard. Sullivan. In the corner is Anderson. Here is Calvo. Great pass. Anderson wide open, gets the head fake, dishes it off, and the foul from behind is on Marco Tullio as Jay Cousinard went for the score.
Interesting move there. We see that great interior pass to Jamel Anderson. The team's really done well since he moved into the starting lineup following Leicester's last loss, one of only 2 this season against Worcester. What I'd like to see more from him is that aggression inside. He doesn't score that many points in this season, averaging 4.7. I still think that's the missing piece in his puzzle. We've seen him improve, Daniel, year after year since he came into the BBL, but you want him to see that confidence in his own ability to go up and make those shots inside.
The interesting thing is he's added a 3-point shot to his game, not something we've seen much of in recent years, but this season, from time to time, he's been able to knock down that shot. If he can stretch the defense all the way out to the 3-point line, he really does make him a serious threat. Sullivan with the rebound, just fingertipped that one. And of course, the versatility of Sullivan, he plays a lot of point guard for Leicester anyway. He's more than happy to bring the ball up. And again, they've lost somebody on the baseline. This time it's Hassan who jams it down.
One of the issues the Rocks have had, and particularly when they were struggling early this season, was that consistency of being mentally switched on. Something, a frustration for coach Sterling Davis, but they do have their lapses. And against a team as good as Leicester, they can't afford that this evening.
Here's Murray as the shot clock gets into single figures, dumps it down to Northern, who loses the ball on the floor. He's trying to find it back. He does get it back, tries to throw a shot up, doesn't hit the ring, doesn't matter as Leicester come down with it. Cousinard has it. Cousinard slows down, then drives in, draws the foul. Will that count? Yes, it will, said the referee. And Jay Cousinard will go to the line and just some sloppy play from the Rocks here. 3 offenses, twice they've missed a guy wide open under the basket on the baseline, and 1 not stopping the ball.
Well, it's interior defenses, and if you look at 2-point percentage, Glasgow last in the league, opponents shooting 50% amongst them against them, and it is that proficiency in the paint, and Leicester attacking it through Cousinard early in this game. They know they'll get changed because that is where they get most of their points.
Well, they made a quick substitution here early in the game, the Rocks, with Early coming in. I'm assuming that's a bit to give them a bit more size, a bit more strength. Sorry, it's Di Maria who's come in, my mistake. Northern inside has that knocked loose by Hassan, and as he tried to reclaim it, he tipped it out of bounds. Home fans questioning whether that might have been a foul or not. Referee having none of it.
That reaction there from Davis, quickly moving to get Di Maria and get more size. And you see now on the perimeter, they're trying to limit Cousinard, get in front of him, make sure he doesn't get penetration into the paint.
Pass a little behind Hassan, but he was able to recover. That's a long 2 from Calver that doesn't quite go. Anderson with the rebound, but under pressure throws it out of bounds. And we're over 2 minutes into this ball game. Leicester leading 6-0. The home fans still on their feet. They do stand here until their team gets the opening score. And I think that's part of the frustration on that last play, as they want to sit back down. Here's Harrison. There's a foul called off the ball as Hassan and Northern are fighting for position. And I did look straight to the bench because I did wonder whether Anthony Rowe might come in with Hassan picking up that early foul against Northern. And
here he comes.
Here he comes.
And if you can give us your lottery numbers as well,
yeah.
I think that would come in useful. But you saw Gareth Murray's the bowler. We spoke to him just before the game. He said, what's the key for you tonight for the Rocks? He said, it's controlling the tempo. They're still expecting a close defensive game. Might come down to the final quarter. He says the tempo to make sure that they play the game at their pace and not at Leicester's, their big target tonight.
Travelling violation called on Sterling Davis, so he didn't quite hear the whistle as he drove through, didn't put the ball down quick enough, so the Rocks still looking for their opening score of the game, some 2.5 minutes in.
And really, when they do get the baskets, it's about that ball movement round in the perimeter. They are a very efficient shooting team. The key to that, of course, E.J. Harrison, top in the entire league. If you look at the player efficiency ratings, takes good shots, but they have to work the ball around. But Leicester, such a gritty defensive team, putting that pressure on, as we see it there. Almost a turnover, getting it back, but they do like to get out in the perimeter, and they're stopping the Rocks successfully.
Anderson gets it to Rowe, and again, Rowe misses the chippy, but finishes off at the second time. But again, too much space under the basket for Leicester there.
Yes, going inside and just going to their strengths that they have now. Northern really isolated inside, going up now against Rowe. But can they get something moving, particularly here, moving the ball around?
It's a real battle in that low post between Northern and Rowe. Here's Murray under pressure from Cousinard. Tough to guide to shoot over and didn't get that shot off. A little block there from Cousinard. Leicester tried to get out and running but couldn't quite find the ball handler quick enough. Here's Anderson. Anderson with nice little crossover, lost the ball as he drove to the basket. And the referee says that's because Sterling Davis had a hand on him. And Jamal Anderson will go to the free throw line.
Well, credit Rob Paternostro for this early run here. They've only had a couple of days of practice to adjust to Downing's absence. We knew that would make them first and foremost a defensive team without the offense that he's bringing. Even if they do bring someone else in, they might not, but even if they do, that's always going to be their hallmark here, and it's just that grittiness. They will grind teams down. They've done it all season, just conceding an average of 63 points per game, way above everyone else. If we look at defensive rating, which is points per 100 possessions, Leicester on 84.6. The next best team, Newcastle, 7 points adrift. That's just how much better they are, how much more effort they give, how much more consistency they've achieved than anyone else in the league. And even if they make that transition, even if they don't get someone in by the cup final coming up next month, we know that they will still be able to be at games, be effective because of that defense.
Well, they had a spell earlier on in the year where they kept 3 teams consecutively in the 40s. And I think there's something like 11 or 12 games in the history of the BBL where a team has been kept to 40 points. And I think half of them have been by Leicester under Rob Paternostro. And the home fans had sat down during that timeout because their team hadn't scored, but some of them getting back to they're allowed a break in a timeout to sit down.
Some of them perhaps worrying about that 40-point barrier tonight.
Yeah. Well, Jamal Anderson, who's had his struggles from the free throw line this season, makes the first. He's averaging just over 1 out of 2 on trips, so Leicester do line some people up for the offensive rebound. He makes them both there. And Leicester into a comfortable lead here. First 10 points of the game, all theirs. Glasgow still looking for their opening score. Here's Murray. Out to Davis. Still they're trying to get it towards Northern. Leicester have done a good job on him. Davis drives in. Davis a little short on that one. Tipped up in the air by Northern. Anderson caught one and hit the deck. He seems to be okay. I think there's going to be a foul on Kuznod on the rebound as he grabbed it away from Daniel Northern.
That's a nice job inside, though, by Anthony Rowe. They were just denying any sort of opportunity to get the ball inside to Northern, even just to try and get them going, whether he can make a shot off the glass or get himself to the line, just making sure that there wasn't that gap available in the passing lane.
And Northern gets inside, can't convert it again, gets his own rebound, second attempt, finally! It's taken them almost 4 minutes, but the Rocks are on the board. Yeah,
they needed that, didn't they, really? They're starting to, you feel the nerves here inside the Emirates Arena, and it took that gritty play, but now still a long way back after just 4 minutes in this first quarter.
Here's Rowe, out to Kuznod, left wide open from behind the arc, doesn't make them pay. Sullivan goes up high for the rebound, he's going to get called for the over the back. Never quite understand that call, because if he's gone up in the air and reaches over a guy, the other guy's not jumping. I'm not sure how that did. Oh, it's called an offensive foul, but never quite understand that one.
Well, it's supposed to be the new era of, does it affect the play, does it affect the other player? There, it's hard to see where it happened. But we all know BBL referees are perfect.
Di Maria gets it to Davis. Again, they're looking for Northern in the low post, and wow, there's one. Did it affect the play? Anthony Rowe is called for a foul. And as you say, ball bounced into him. It got there. Not quite sure where the impediment was, but end line ball to the Rocks with Northern to inbound. I don't think they've, they were a bit slow to react there, the Rocks. They did get it in. Murray fires up. Tough shot from Gareth Murray with Calvo a hand in his face.
That's what they need, though, from him. The experience he got. He is one of their catalyst players. They need him to start making shots to spark them back into life here.
Calvo penetrates. He's got Northern on him somehow. There must be a mismatch elsewhere. Sullivan has Harrison. They go inside, though, to Kuznod to the tough fall away. What a shot from Jay Kuznod.
Yeah, you can't give him that much room. You need to be out in his face, and that's why Ryder's defense is so impressive. They're like gnats pestering you time and time again. They don't give teams easy shots, and if you're their opponent, you have to do the same to them.
Northern trying to back down Rowe. Good defense from Rowe. Forced him to kick it out. Now that looked like a travel from our angle, but the referee was right on top of it. But on the other side of the floor, the referee on the baseline calls a foul compared to the one that Davis did get called for a moment ago. He'll go to the line for 2, and Connor Washington will check in for the first time as Jorge Calvo sits down. Rock's also getting ready for a substitution, but it will be a provisional on the shooter. So Harrison Gamble can come in for Leicester, replacing Jamal Anderson.
There's another plus, isn't it, for Leicester? Two young players coming off the bench. Both have played in spells this season, been very effective when they've come in, getting great experience, learning the trade. We saw last season Washington, some terrific games from off the bench. Gamble, his first season in the BBL, a really intriguing prospect, 6'10", British-born. What can he achieve now that he's actually getting the experience of getting into pressure situations?
Well, Davis makes both from the free throw line, so he does now get to sit down as Fran Early checks in for him. And the Rocks recovered well after giving up the first 10 points of the game. They've cut it back to 6 here. Sullivan cross court to Washington. Northern baiting him into shooting it, and an air ball. He really should have converted, but fortunately for him, Gamble kept it alive, and Kuznod finished it off.
That's just being alert, Daniel, isn't it? Just defense, they're just switching off. Someone sneaking in, getting that defensive rebound. taking it back in.
Harrison round the screen. Harrison pulls up long 2. No, in fact, he was worth 3, but it was short. And Kuznal with the rebound. Kuznal, a little stop and go again. They didn't quite stop the ball in transition. And Gareth Murray, we saw this last week against Leicester in our televised game with Plymouth, just not stopping the ball and Leicester getting to the basket too easily.
Yeah, Leicester are capable of. The pace perhaps will drop a little bit without Downing, as we see Johnny Bunyan coming in. We saw him, of course, the televised game before Christmas against Durham. He had such a great impact there, and maybe increasing that tempo a little bit. Can he repeat it again and get that consistency in this game tonight?
Sullivan to Washington. Washington drives in. Gamble in the corner. That's where he loves to shoot from. That one doesn't go, and Davis grabs the rebound. Here's Bunyan against Washington. Intriguing little British matchup between the two diminutive guards. Lobbed in towards Murray off the glass. Didn't quite have enough on it, and that's one of those where you got to know you got to come down with it. If you're not going to be able to make that layup, just land with it and recycle if necessary. Sullivan for 3 is long, and Bunyan off the glass with that rebound. Davis, Calvo against him in the low post. Davis is going to go to work all day on that one, but he can't convert. Lob towards Sullivan, good hand to break it up from Di Maria. Bunyan onto Early, back to Bunyan, open for 3, not quite. And that's one of those shots you kind of hope for its sake it goes in, gives him a little boost in confidence early in the game.
Yeah, somewhere Big Brother Keith saying, I'd have made that back in my day.
Yeah. Sullivan cross to Gamble. Look how deep Leicester have gone into their bench already. Oh, nice cut back door from Calvo, and Rowe found him. I mean, essentially, this is 4 of their bench players and Sullivan. I know Calvo started the game in this situation, but he doesn't ordinarily.
Like you saw, the Rocks don't like to play one defense, or like to play that help defense, someone coming across, but occasionally someone sneaks in the weak side, and there no one was there guarding it. It's a little bit of a gamble at times.
Murray's 3 doesn't go. Rowe almost had it. Gamble picked it up. Yeah, Leicester's cuts back door. Of course, Glasgow some problems here in the early stages. Mind you, that's too easy. Way too easy as Rowe cuts to the basket. Davis got there a bit late and got caught for the bump. Rowe will go to the line for the bonus.
The worry for Sterling Davis is now is just that points in the paint. Time and again, Leicester are getting opportunities. They're still getting open men. People aren't adjusting. You have to rotate, but you also have to know who's sneaking in the blind side. And Leicester are doing a great job right now of keeping that rotation around on offense and making the Rocks guess. And right now, they ain't guessing correctly.
That was the second personal foul on Sterling Davis. He and Marco Tullio both on the bench in foul trouble here in the first quarter. Full court pressure from Leicester. You see this a lot. And that's one of the things with the deep bench. You can press teams a lot more than they can press you back and just wear them down. It's been a staple of Leicester over the last couple of years. Here's Bunyan around the high screen. Early little stop and go to the hook, and another rebound from Rowe. Calvo. Inside to Rowe. Rowe at the foul line. It's his trademark shot, but it doesn't drop. Bunyan. Oh, Washington lost his footing for a second there, but recovered. Di Maria for 3. And he knocks it down, cuts it down to 10. Washington. Cross court to Calvo. Bit static, this offense by the Riders. Rowe has it, he fires up, a little short. Anderson tips it up in the air, and it will be a Glasgow ball. 45 seconds to go here in the first.
You feel it, Glasgow now, you want to try and end this quarter with some momentum. You want to try and get a basket or a stop. Just put Leicester a little bit under pressure, make them think going into this first break here, hey, we're not out of this, we're breathing down your neck. We're still playing at our capabilities here.
Harrison trying to go to work, doesn't drop that down, and Rowe again. He's only fighting with his teammate last couple of times down for the rebound. Glasgow should get this back. There's about a 7 or 8 second differential between the shot and the game clock. But Calver's going to tick some time down. The shot clock goes into single figures. Calver still glancing up at it. Now he looks to drive in, gets it to Gamble in the corner for 3, and he hits! Beautiful corner 3 from Gamble. Rocks have got to be quick here. Di Maria has it. Di Maria wants rid of it, gets it to Harrison. Harrison has to shoot here. Harrison gets it off in time, doesn't go. And an excellent first quarter by the Leicester Riders. They scored the opening 10 points of the game, and they haven't given up 10 points in the whole quarter.
Well, it's going back to October again, the vice-like grip of Leicester, just 9 points in a quarter. Poor offensive recognition from Glasgow, major adjustments needed as we head into the second period.
Well, we reach the end of one here at the Emirates. It's the Rocks 9, the Leicester Riders 22. Welcome back to the Emirates Arena. The two teams made their way out on court. The clock stopped at 40 seconds, and it looked like they were just going to reset it to 10 minutes, but they haven't quite managed to do that yet. So I thought we were going to get underway briefly, but there is a little pause here as the table try and sort out the clock. But an excellent first quarter by the Leicester Riders, leading this one by 13 and possession of the ball. They don't seem to have missed a beat. We were wondering how they were going to cover the holes left by Downing, but they seem to have done an excellent job, particularly at the defensive end. Well,
Jake Cousinard stepping up, game high 8 points for him so far, but it's been that defensive pressure, hasn't no Rocks player scoring more than a single field goal. And so it's troubling for me if you look at that Riders stat sheet. Hassan with just 2 points. You thought that, you know, lately he's been so consistent with it going in the low post. Up against Northern, you felt maybe the speed there would be an intriguing battle. They haven't had to go to him yet. They've been able to get that penetration far too easily. In Glasgow, in their second quarter, really with some huge defensive adjustments to make to just try and knock Leicester out of the rhythm that they've achieved so far and stop them getting very, very simple and open looks in the paint.
Well, the interesting thing was Hassan picked up that foul 2 minutes into the game. Coach Paternoster pulled him out, put Rowe in, and Rowe comes in, 5 points, 5 rebounds in the first quarter, and there's no need to put Hassan back into the game. He is back in now, but we've got a little delay here, and obviously there's still something wrong with the clock. I notice the quarter says 3, so whether they somehow skipped forward, I don't know that that necessarily makes a difference at this stage. It would make a difference if you got to the fourth quarter and they only put 5 on the clock. They also, the team fouls seem to have not reset. You see there, oh, now they've got it ticking down. So the wonders of technology holding us up. Remember the old days when they used to have just one on the table, you would just flip over.
I was going to say, I'm not as old as you, but
it is your birthday.
That would be a lie.
Here we go then, we're ready to get things underway, and it's Connor Washington who ambles across the halfway line for the Leicester Riders. Cousinard to Gamble, who hit the 3 in the corner to end the first quarter. Kuzanov drives in, kicks it out to Anderson for 3, and I said it earlier, he has added that to his game this year.
He's becoming a more versatile, diverse player with every passing season. That's confidence now of being in that starting lineup. Maybe just a change of mentality. He knows that he can make those big shots.
E.J. Harrison cuts it back down. Finally, the Rocks into double figures. He's taken them almost as many minutes as points. Washington drives in under pressure, kicks it out. Kuzanov with the fake, pulls up in the mid-range shot. That rattles out. The ball is loose, and Washington went a little too aggressively after it and committed the foul on Murray.
And one anecdote to look for on the court tonight, if you're watching this game, is just how many of these players appear to have got new boots for Christmas. There's a certain shine on the floor. A few new models have clearly arrived in Santa's sack here, and maybe that's possibly one of the reasons for some of the shooting traumas tonight, just breaking those in.
Here's Northern out at the elbow. Calvo looked like he might get a hand in that passing lane, but it did get all the way to E.J. Harrison, and his shot rims out and is pulled down by Calvo. Calvo kicks it out long to Hassan, who finishes off the glass. What a pass from the halfway line from Jorge Calvo.
Yeah, and that's got to make Rob Paternoster smile. Just Calvo stepping into that starting lineup. We know he can be effective off the bench, but a player who has no concerns about taking on that playmaking role and making great passes like that.
Well, he's very much a pass-first point guard, and that was one of his better ones. Here's Early trying to go to work. His shot, Rocks have had a few of them where they look like it might just go in from close range and it bubbles out. Anderson. Calvo. In the corner is Kuzanov for 3, and he hits. And Leicester have hit 3 threes in what, just 2.5 minutes either side of the quarter break, and they've blown this out to a 19-point lead, Mark.
It's just ball movement, isn't it? It's just waiting, being patient, looking for the right shot. You're surprised almost if you look at the way that the NBA's developed in recent years. People are looking at that corner 3 as the high percentage shot. Why? Because it's the shortest area to make that 3 ball. We haven't probably seen it as much evolve internationally, but more and more teams are trying to get it open. We saw in the first quarter, gambled on in the opposite quarter. Then they're doing it again. The Rocks now, though, back on the bench. Look at those faces there. Sterling Davis saying, what's going on here? We've come in with a game plan. Yeah, we've had to adjust it because we didn't know Downing was going to be playing until the last minute. But they're just not executing. They're just not recognizing at either end of the floor. And Leicester just playing composed and within themselves. You know, we're heading into the new year. That cup final against Newcastle less than 2 weeks away now. If you look around the rest of the league, I know Worcester will go into 2014 as the league leaders, but I still think that the Riders, even without Downing, are still the team that everyone has to challenge.
The other thing, you get a scoreline like this in the ball game, 19 points between the two teams, big crowd in here. I think it's about 2,500 people. And when your team gives up the first 10 points of the game, finds themselves in a 19-point hole, it's hard for the crowd to get excited early on. And it is a bit flat now because of the state of the game. The team needs to get the crowd back into the game. And shots like that just haven't dropped for them today. Kuzanov gets it back to Calvo. Anderson. Kuzanov with that little fall away. Rebound, Calvo gets an uncanny amount of rebounds. Just seems to be in the right place. Ball bounces to him. And again, they missed Anderson on the baseline. He has to kick it back out. And just on the line is Calvo over on the side.
What we've seen the first few minutes there, the Rocks coming out with a little bit more energy and defense, man-to-man, trying to push in there, but not getting anything from it there. And what's the plan B here? Do they switch to a zone? They've done that very successfully in some games this season. Sometimes even played 40 minutes of zone. Something needing to be adjusted here.
Gareth Murray at the top for 3, and that does give the crowd something to shout about.
They needed that. They really needed that. But can they get a stop? Can they start and build up a run here? They need to generate some momentum.
Kuzanov to Hassan, and that's a real momentum killer.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been so effective in that low block area. I mean, his quickness, his footwork has been so impressive every time I've watched him this season. And then now, with Northern not taking that matchup currently. He's on the bench. You think they've got to go to Hassan and try and take advantage.
All sorts of pressure on Harrison. They ended up having to go out of bounds trying to get the ball, and Marco Tullio eventually brought it up, and that's another turnover by the Rocks. And Leicester get it back, a chance to stretch this lead to 20 now. Marco Tullio sitting down. Picked up a couple of early fouls, not really got himself into the game. Here's Sullivan, who sat for about 5 minutes, and the lead ballooned upwards. Normally, he's at the heart of everything good, but didn't need to be today. He's trying to get himself in the action. Little runner off the glass, slightly off left. Harrison back to Davis. Harrison again, a bit of space. Has Hassan in front of him. That one's a long way short. And EJ struggling a little bit last few minutes. Kuznod steps back, drives in. Kuznod off the glass, nice move. Didn't quite get the finish though. Murray with the rebound. Murray, nice dribbling skills at the halfway line. Davis squares up to Sullivan. Drives along the baseline, and the foul is going to be on the floor with a little bump. It's amazing, the amount of contact between the pair of them before the ball comes in. Once the ball comes, any little touch is called, and Sullivan is whistled for his second.
We saw in the first quarter from this inbound situation, Glasgow getting very little change. Can they come up with something different? No, they didn't. Leicester's defense forcing them to go all the way back out to Murray.
Di Maria just got that to Murray. Shot clock getting low as Murray goes to the runner. Tough one. Batted up in the air. The Rocks get it back through early, and he finishes it off. No, says the referee. 24-second violation is the call. The initial shot not hitting the ring, and then the little step under, not off in time.
That's woken the crowd up. First time we've heard them for a while booing that decision there, but correct. And again, Leicester's relentless defense. You know, they've built this big lead, but every single possession they're fighting to get the stops and to force poor shots.
Sullivan, well, it's a killer, isn't it? You get an easy basket like that, and then it's waved off on a violation. Anderson, nowhere to go, gets trapped there, and he's a bit lucky that Murray tipped that away. And Leicester bench is up because they thought they lost a second off the shot clock there. The referee's just going to go check with the table whether they did or not. It did look like it went from 3 to 2 after the ball had hit the ground. I don't know how the referee can know that, though, if he's invariably not looking at the shot clock at that time. And the tables, I think, said that was okay. So Leicester have got 2 seconds instead of 3 on the inbound. It's not really one of them they can correct in that scenario. Sullivan has to shoot, gets it off, hits the ring, so it's live, and Kuznor can reset. Thumbs up from the referee, because that ball did hit the ring. Sullivan trying to go to work, gets double team, gets it to Anderson for the corner 3, another one for Leicester, and Calvo going after the rebound. Who's it on? I think it's on Calvo, is it? It is. Jorge Calvo's call for the foul.
But great recognition there from Sullivan. He tried to back in, find himself double team. Good there, but still manages to spot out of the corner of his eye, in the corner, an open man. And they're just playing very well as a team now. It's just, there's that comfort level that this Leicester team have alongside each other. I mean, not with Downing going out, not too many faces from last season's squad, but they've built up that momentum over these first couple of months of the season. They were trying to integrate Downing still. Rob Paternoster still felt, even with those 6 straight wins, that was a work in progress, but they look like a team that just knows each other, where they're going to be time and time again. Contrast that with the Rocks, of course. You know, they have improved since that disastrous start to the season, but tonight, just no coherence about their play. You know, just Davis there sitting, talking to his players on the bench, trying to come up with something different, but it is going to start at the defensive end, and really they're having trouble denying Leicester those easy passes, denying them in the perimeter, and switching off on the very good cuts that players are making.
Well, I think during that timeout, or at the beginning of that timeout, Rob Paternostro got a warning from one of the officials, but then the other one ran over to him and went from Paternostro to the table and had a long conversation with the person on the table. I'm not sure if it was related to that shot clock issue earlier or something. But we're back underway. Then Harrison gets it to Murray. Off the ball, a hold called. I have no idea who it was. I was looking the other way. 55, Di Maria. I must say, I was looking at the ball, had no idea what that call was. Did you see it, Mark?
No, I suppose a level of frustration here that you see at both these coaches. You're getting at the referees. You just want to go on and play. Particularly for Rob, your team's up by 18. You're cruising right now. Just focus on your own players because they're taking care of business.
Well, Rocks, less than a point a minute here. That's never a good statistic. Down low to Sullivan. Squares up to Early. Drives baseline and he's fouled. I think that's long before the shot. It does go in. And the referee doesn't even turn around to acknowledge the basket. It will be an end-line ball to Leicester. Sam will sit down with Rowe checking back into the ball game. And those pair have done a good job.
It's an extraordinary mismatch now. Points in the paint for Leicester, 16 the Rocks. Just 2, just getting nowhere fast. You see Sullivan there stopped just by a foul from Early, holds up his hands in frustration. They're just not able to stop anything.
And Early's just got a warning from the referee anymore, and it'll be a technical foul. He's just got a couple of quick fouls in a row, and he's replaced by Daniel Northern. And one of the officials going to the Rocks bench to reinforce, I think, that we're not going to take any more chatter. Inbounded to Washington.
Cool heads, though. That's what's required now. Glasgow want to get back in this game. Forget about refs, forget about the problems, and just try and get into playing the game that they want to play.
Oh, good head fake from Rowe, and he drives in and lays it in just in time. Just got that finger roll off before the buzzer sounded. Leicester's lead is up to 20.
That's just a smart play from Anthony Rowe there. Just allowed his defender just to get off his feet and said, "Hi, I'm flying by."
What a battle in there between Rowe and Northern. Northern eventually wins out as the pass gets to him, but he had to work hard. Cousinard. Rowe out behind the three-point line. Anderson drives through, little stop and go. Anderson drives to the basket, couldn't quite finish it off though. Little momentum perhaps here for the Rocks. Can Di Maria add to it with 3? Yes, he can. Knocks it down.
Yeah, his second try of the game. They really need it. They need production now from whatever source they can get. That time, a little bit more movement. They got some dividends for it. Can they take something from that play?
Another big stop here from the Rocks would certainly add to the life. Sullivan, though, fires up for 3, and that's killed the crowd instantly.
Well, he doesn't do that much, does he? 29% shooting this season from three-point range, but it's a real killer when someone you don't expect to make that shot stands up to be counted and throws it down in your face.
Tends to hit the important ones, Drew Sullivan. Davis driving in, a little step under, doesn't go, fighting for his own rebound. Ball not loose, Di Maria comes up with it and converts.
Yeah, he's providing a spark off the bench now. That's 8 points for him. They need more, you look to try and go inside. Can Northern get something going right now? Defended by Rowe. You want to see him contribute and be a bit more aggressive in the paint, but then they have to get the ball to him. They've not done a good job of that so far.
Washington drives baseline, dumps off to Rowe. Little mid-range jump shot, beautiful. Swished home.
It's just drive and kick on such a regular basis now. Harrison, can he do something here? Can he try and spark his team? He's played so well this season.
Good hands from Cousinard on the help. Knocked that ball loose, but couldn't quite keep it in bounds, so it will be Rock's possession. Harrison just making himself look presentable before he inbounds the ball. Tucks the old shirt in.
Image is everything.
It is. Now they go inside to Northern, trying to go to work against Rowe. And Rowe called for the one on the elbow there.
And you want to see them try and feed Northern in that, just right on that low block. He's not someone that's effective maybe another meter out, but you get him that ball just under the basket, 1 or 2 steps away. He can make shots and either get himself to the line or add on points there, and that's an option they've not taken enough of tonight.
Rowe replaced by Hassan. Rowe picked up his second foul there. Harrison, long 2, says the official, just towed the line. Inside the final 2, 16-point Leicester lead. It's been double figures from the moment they hit 10. Sullivan in the low block again. Oh, Sullivan, great spin, and he's fouled on the floor, I think, by Di Maria. They were throwing a double team at him earlier. They didn't on that occasion, so Sullivan went baseline, and he's going to get 2 shots for that. So obviously, as they weren't, that was the 5th foul, so they would have given him the basket if that went in. My initial thought was it was going to be an end-line ball, but Sullivan getting the benefit of the doubt there, and he'll go to the line for 2.
And he's someone else that they'll look to step up a little bit in offensive production with Downing out. His points and level dropping a little bit this season, more of a facilitation role, as you said, playing point guard even at times. The assists are up, but you know, with his experience when it comes to these big games, when it comes to the cup finals, he'll be one of the ones that they know they can count on.
Sullivan misses them both. Northern putting the ball on the floor there. I think he got a little baited into that by Anderson pressuring him, and Anderson ended up getting called for the foul. But I'm not sure. I think that was slightly fortunate, because I'm not sure Sterling Davis wants to see Northern in that situation trying to go coast to coast, but he did draw the foul, and Leicester are over the limit, so it will be 2 free throws for Daniel Northern.
Davis having a word with his players there, trying to set something out. 1 minute 35 seconds left. Can you make that run? Maybe bring it down to 10 points psychologically. Give yourself some hope. Go into the locker room with heads held high rather than buried down below in despair.
Well, it's 14 now with 90 seconds to go here in the first half. And Davis knocks that loose. Sullivan, can he get there? No, he can't. Davis has Northern with him, gives it back to him. Northern, loses the ball out of bounds. Just when they had all that momentum, looked like an easy dunk, and he just couldn't hang on to it.
Yeah, he's smiling there. Davis laughing it off, but can't be smiling inside a golden opportunity. Yeah, that pressure D that he called for there, executed perfectly, but not getting the finish.
Washington picks the ball up, gets it to Sullivan. Out to Hassan. Kuznov desperate for it in the low post. Backs his man down. That's, I think, tipped by Northern, and the Rocks get the rebound. Harrison has it. Harrison to Di Maria. I thought he was going to fire up a 3, decides against it though. And it's back to Harrison. Chance for the Rocks to cut yet further here with a minute to go. Round the high screen, Northern diving down the lane to the lay-in, and it's down to only 12.
Yeah, nice pick and roll there, the recognition there. And Northern being aggressive and taking inside, calling for the ball. Now just 12 points in it. Stop.
Good hands
here.
from Harrison, and it came off Washington last, said the referee. So the Rocks get the ball back. Chance to make it 10 with 30 seconds to go here.
In the last couple of minutes, we've seen Glasgow play the kind of defense that we know they can play. Pressure, execution, forcing turnovers.
Oh, there's a poor one from Murray. Kuznov has it. Kuznov racing it back, and actually in some ways that being tipped out of bounds is no bad thing for Leicester, because they'll be able to run the clock down and get the final shot here of this quarter. Timeout called by Rob Paternostre. There's 21.9 seconds on the game clock. There's 20 seconds on the shot clock, so Leicester can have the last offense of this first half.
And you expect that Rob will be sitting in the timeout just saying, let's move around. We use up the entire clock here. Look for the very best shot that we can. By contrast, Glasgow, they're saying, well, we've been quite effective the last couple of minutes, putting pressure on the ball, getting out there, trying to maybe even double team the ball handler, see what we can do there, see if there's some mistake that we can force here. But the momentum, can't say it's shifted completely here, but certainly the Rocks have showed us a little bit more of what they're capable of over these last few minutes. And they're still within touching distance now. They'll still go into this break thinking, well, it's not impossible. And of course, we saw these two teams play just 6 weeks ago. It went to overtime. Yes, Leicester won it eventually by 9 points in OT, but Glasgow know that they have the matching up of Leicester if they play the way that they want to.
Well, Leicester actually somewhat fortunate to get to overtime in that game. I suppose that we're in that funny situation where, you know, if Leicester go in up 12, if you said that to Rob before the game, you'll go in at half-time up 12, he'd have been delighted. But if you said to Sterling, what, 10 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago, you'll only be down 12, he'd be delighted with that scenario, because it was up to 20 at one stage. But Leicester should just about be able to run this one down. Got to get the ball in first, of course. And they do get it into Sullivan. And now Calvo. And he'll back out to the halfway line, let some time go off the clock. In the horn set. Shot clock now down to 10. Calvo backs down, goes round the screen. Gets it to Sullivan in the corner. Knocked loose, and that will be a Leicester ball. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Best part of 6 seconds on the game clock. Oh, that's a sloppy pass, and I think that touched Gamble. Yes, it did, said the referee. So the Rocks with 5.7 seconds to go, even though that was deflected. Is there a timeout called? No, I don't think there is. They went over like it was going to be a timeout. Oh, everybody's used all their timeouts, so they've got none left.
Certainly Ross Hutton, the assistant coach, there going up and asking for a timeout, waved away. They thought they could draw up a play. Now EJ Harrison calling something out on the floor. Can they execute?
5.7, Davis to inbound. Davis gets it to Harrison. Harrison drives in, dumps it off to Northern. Oh, he's gone the long way round there, Northern, when he should have gone to the basket. And we've reached the half. Very low scoring first half, particularly by the home team. But having been 20 down, the Rocks will feel they're still well within this game, haven't cut it down to 12.
Well, they'll be kicking themselves there in that last play. Northern really should have finished that. Inexplicable, could have cut it to 10 points. Still some hope, though, for Glasgow. They showed us maybe going away from what they were doing early in this game. But certainly, the Riders looking very good as we head towards the second half.
We're at the half here at the Emirates. It's the Glasgow Rocks 27, the Leicester Riders 39. Welcome back to the Emirates Arena. We're a minute away from the start of the second half, but nobody gets the exclusives better than Mark Woods. Mark, what can you tell us at halftime?
Well, talking to a couple of the players there, Daniel Northern of Glasgow Rocks said the big thing for them is to make sure they keep playing their game. They feared coming off the Christmas break they might have been a little rusty, so it proved tonight. But thinks if they keep playing as the way that they were at the end of the second, they can get some change in this game. And also the quick word with Leicester's Drew Sullivan, whose wife is apparently about to give birth. She's here tonight, Gemma, concerned that she isn't going into labour, so doesn't want a close game. But he said the big thing for them is that they want to be a little bit more aggressive in this second half. Felt that the Riders were perhaps a little bit tentative, but pleased with the way that they're playing defence and getting good looks on offence.
It's always good to bring your wife with you when she's heavily pregnant. I made the mistake of being 100 miles away as mine went into labour, but got back in time. Davis with the turnaround, way short. Northern can only bat it out of bounds.
You were lucky that night that game didn't go to overtime. You'd have been in so much trouble.
Fortunately for me, it was a 30-point blowout. Paul James and the Worcester Wolves doing the business a couple of years ago down in Guildford.
Well, we wish the Sullivans well whenever number 3 arrives.
And there's Davis knocking the ball away from Sullivan. It will be a Leicester possession with 11 on the shot clock.
It was certainly interesting, Sullivan, though, saying about that, not feeling that they were aggressive enough. And you think that, you know, they didn't take the ball inside a lot. They got very good opportunities just with simple ball movement, looking for the open man. If they start to take it more inside, they don't have that penetration with Anthony Downey, of course, out for the season. But there you see another jump shot. Those shots have been falling for them, and they've been getting them all night. Perhaps now they'll look to take it inside and see what change they can get off Glasgow.
Well, Kuznov, when he's hitting those little mid-range jumpers with a little fall away, so hard to guard. Oh, that one bobbles in. Very much a home court roll there for EJ Harrison.
Harrison, they need to really get going here in the first half. Really struggled, just 2 points for him then. off to a better start. They need more from him.
Anderson to reply with 3 of his own, doesn't go. They can get this into, or they could have, if Anderson hadn't broke it up into single figures here, the Rocks. Harrison down to Northern to that little jump hook, didn't quite have enough on it, and Hassan did a good job of diverting him away from the back. They've got to stop the ball. Here's Sullivan on the trail, back out to Anderson. Hassan. Shot clock getting low on Leicester here as Kuznor dumps inside to Hassan, and he's fouled by Northern as he went up. And that will be only the first on Northern. Rashad Hassan will go to the free throw line. Well, he had that little stutter that you sometimes see from players on the free throw line when they think it's going to be a bit short, but it did go in cleanly enough. The second one's off the back of the ring. Knocked loose by Sullivan, gets it back from Calvo. He's fouled from behind, and Drew Sullivan will go to the line for a bonus free throw. Excellent work from Sullivan to keep it alive, and also from Calvo. We talked about how he thinks about pass first, and on that occasion he perhaps had the reverse lane but saw Sullivan open and gave him the chance for a three-point play, which he just about took. That one wiped his feet as it went over the front of the ring.
Yeah, costly switch off by Glasgow here. They don't have a margin for error, down 15 early in this third quarter. They can't give up possessions. They need to make Leicester take more difficult shots. That was their chief problem in the first half. And if they want to get back into this game, they need to start breaking that rhythm that Leicester have established of getting open mid-range jumpers and being able to get inside and score and get to the line.
That was the third personal foul on Drew Sullivan there. Here's Northern out on the three-point line. Hands over to Murray. Back to Murray at the top. Northern again still trying to find some space. Tough shot from Murray, doesn't go. Sullivan with the rebound. Sullivan hands off to Kuznor. Sullivan again. Gets it to Kuznor, cutting to the basket, and just deflected out of the way Marco Tullio. He looked beaten there for a second, but just dived to knock that ball out of bounds.
Yeah, Marco Tullio came in as the reputation, a good defender at Northwestern when he spent 4 years over at college in Chicago. Played well.
Oh, Anderson's wide open there. They got it to him eventually, and he's blocked twice by Murray. Ball not loose. Rocks come open with it. Here's Murray. Murray driving through. His foul, will that count? Yes, it will! And the foul is on Calvo, and Gareth Murray will go to the line for a bonus on what should have been an easy 2 points. They probably found Anderson a bit late there, Leicester, and allowed Murray to come up with the defensive stop, and he comes up with the offensive goods as well.
Yeah, you've got to like that play if you're Sterling Davis. We've barely seen that tonight from Glasgow. Good defense, transition, score at the other end. Can they start to close this gap?
Well, it's 12 now for the Rocks. Well, 12 behind. They were 12 behind at the half. Sullivan wants to hand this over to Calvo. And here's Kuznor. Calvo has it, down low to Hassan. Hassan has to go back out, throws that to where he thought Calvo was, but he wasn't. Sullivan gets it, shot clock down low. Davis gambles on the reach round. They've got to shoot here, Leicester. Calvo looks at the clock, fires up for three, and hits! String music on the shot clock buzzer. What a shot!
And that's going to hurt. You've done everything right. You've kept him outside. You probably want Calvo taking that shot with 2 seconds, but he still buries it. The break's all going Leicester's way.
Harrison to Davis up top. They're still trying to work towards Northern. Here's Murray driving through, and that's going to be a little hand check by Anderson long before the shot. So despite the cheer from the home fans who hadn't noticed the whistle, it'll be a sideline ball for Glasgow.
But again, a good offense that time there. You want Murray to get that ball with a one-on-one opportunity. He's quick, he can drive.
Marco Tullio's three doesn't go. Sullivan with the rebound. Anderson. Sullivan for three, hit one in the first half, doesn't hit one here. Northern with the rebound. Harrison down to Northern. Northern trying to go to work on Hassan, who blocks him but goes through the block. Northern for two.
That's where he's effective. And that's where the Rocks need to get him the ball in the second half. Try and draw Hassan perhaps into more foul trouble. See if they can get some change in the paint.
Calvo round the screen. That's a kickball. No. Came off the foot of Marco Tullio, and that will be a blocking foul on Calvo. And I think that's the fourth on the Leicester guard. He was about to come out of the game for Washington, but he will definitely come out of the game now, having picked up that fourth foul.
Yeah, Marco Tullio just drew him into that smart play in his behalf there as well, perhaps recognizing that potentially the Spaniard in foul trouble there. Certainly made it a hard foul when he went in.
Bunyan. Marco Tullio drives in, kicks it out to Bunyan. Bunyan penetrates. Bunyan out off balance, throws it up, and the rebound. Oh, it's knocked away, and somehow Northern came up with it. Hassan had it, and next thing you know, it's in the hands of Daniel Northern.
So now 11 points in it here. Bunyan coming off the bench, a little bit of energy there. Can you get a stop and now and get into single figures and start making questions appear in front of Leicester's eyes?
Offensive foul is called off the ball. I think it's Kuznod as he was trying to post up Marco Tullio.
Yeah, just a push off there in the low post, switching off. Leicester losing some of that discipline that they were showing in the first and second periods. Rocks with their heads up here, playing with a little bit more energy, going to their strengths, looking for scores inside, getting some ball movement. And suddenly, this game very much alive again.
Big shot from Murray for three. Doesn't go. Rebound Sullivan. Would have got it back into single figures. Here's Anderson. Anderson penetrates. Anderson to the finger roll. Nice move.
That's exactly what you want to see from Jamel Anderson. That the belief that he should have in himself now. Showed at Great Britain training camp last year. Joe Prunty very impressed with him. Paternoster wants to see more of that.
Davis open for three. Good ball movement for the Rocks. And it's down to 10.
Well, he's woken up. That's a good sign for Glasgow. Not had a great season, but had that big game before Christmas and that victory over Sheffield. If he starts firing, the Rocks are much a better team.
Washington dancing along the baseline, got kind of stuck under the ring with no other option, and the Rocks can get it into single figures here. Marco Tullio kicks it out to Davis with the mid-range shot, too long, ball batted up in the air. It'll come out to Murray, who just saves it. Good hustle from him to chase it down. Murray now in the corner for another three, no. And Kuznod with the rebound. Kuznod has Rowe with him, nobody stops him. Oh, they do in the end. Double team from Davis and Northern, and again the Rocks with a chance to cut it to single figures for the first time since the opening few seconds. Well, few minutes, because they did get back to 12-6. That's as close as it's been in this ball game. Remember, Leicester scored the opening 10 points. Washington round the high screen. Gets it, Rowe wasn't quite expecting it there. Shot clock down to 5 here. Kuznod for three. Oh, what a dagger. What a dagger from Jay Kuznod.
Well, they were trading shots there. Marco Tullio missed one. He hasn't scored tonight. The shot's not falling from him. But the momentum just falling back. Glasgow thinking, oh, we can do this. Not far off. And then Kuznod, who's not shot the ball particularly well from three-point range this season, makes that big shot. Now we're up to unlucky 13. What response did Glasgow got?
Bunyan. Northern was supposed to set the screen on Murray, did get there eventually. Davis just had it knocked loose by Anderson. Shot clock at 5 here for Bunyan. Bunyan has it knocked away. Davis is going to have to throw it from inside his own half. Gets it off. Oh, it almost went in! What a shot from Sterling Davis. Almost good for 3. In that situation, you're just hoping to hit the ring. He almost hit the net.
That would have been a way to celebrate the end of the year.
Foul called. I think it's on Bunyan with the hold. And we get some substitutions coming into the game. You talk about celebrating the year. This will be the year that Leicester Riders fans remember throughout their history. It's been their best ever year. 3 trophies in the bag. They've also won 40 games in a calendar year. And this is a club who until 2012 hadn't ever won 30 games in a calendar year.
It's an incredible achievement. You think if they win tonight, they'll just be 3 wins behind that all-time record of that great Worthing Bears team back in '88. And it's been a magnificent turnaround. A year that certainly Leicester fans will never, ever forget.
It's only been about 6 or 7 teams in BBL history ever won 40 games in a calendar year. I know it's an odd stat because it crosses the seasons, but it's still a sign of consistent quality. Only 5 defeats for the Riders in 2013. Trying to keep that way and get win number 41 here today. Sullivan. Kuznov, a little crossover. That's a tough shot. Doesn't go. And Bunyan with the rebound. Well, it was 10 a few moments ago. It's leaked back out to 16 with 90 seconds to go here in the 3rd period. Rocks knocking on the door. Haven't really been able to pound it down as yet. Murray for 3 halfway down. Thought for a second Sullivan was going to bobble that out of bounds, but he did manage to haul it back in. Rob Paternostro calling the horn sign from the sideline. And that's a trip. A bit unfortunate on Bunyan, but one I guess the referee has to call because otherwise it's out of bounds and Rock's possession. Second foul on Bunyan.
It's a nice little subplot, isn't it, to this game? Washington, Bunyan, the 2 young backup point guards, as you call them. The battle of the not-so-bigs.
Yeah.
They're going at it, and both of them trying to meet their mark and show their respective head coaches they deserve playing time.
Got to get this in here, Sullivan. He does get it into Washington. Traveled with it, did he? No, he stepped on the line, said the referee. And it's a Rock's possession. And you can see Washington staying up court, as Leicester so often do, trying to grind the other point guard down. E.J. Harrison, I think, just grateful the pressure's not on him for a moment or two. Here's Bunyan. Bunyan spies a little gap in the lane, drives through, tough shot off the back of the ring. Washington goes up high, couldn't quite haul it in. Early steps under, good hands from Washington. No, it's not, because the referee's called him for a foul. And it will be 2 free throws for Early. It's only the 2nd foul on Washington. Remember, Jorge Calvo, who started in the point guard spot, on 4. And if you joined us a bit late, Anthony Downing out for the season for Leicester with a broken jaw, which looked like a massive blow, and certainly is a massive blow, but they've coped all right so far tonight without him. But they are looking for a replacement. Remember, the cup final against Newcastle only 2 weeks away. It's going to be tough for them to get somebody in time, certainly somebody who can be effective. Washington, with a nice little bit of dribbling skills, draws the foul.
But then we saw, remember back last season, that Leicester, that big injury for them early in the year, coped very well without, went on to magnificent season. We know they're a team that has that resilience and that confidence and that belief in themselves that even when they suffer those kind of blows, they can just carry on.
Well, there is an argument saying that Fraley was Leicester's best player last season, and he only played about half a dozen games, went down with a season-ending knee injury, and that was a massive adjustment because he was averaging 19 and 10 or 11 at the time, and they had to really change the way they did things, and they managed to do so and kept on winning. I think really it was that first game afterwards at Newcastle where they went up there and won there for the first time in a generation, really set them out. And they're trying to respond to a similar blow and hope it's not too devastating. Washington driving in with time running out in the third quarter. Nice move, nice score, and that will do it. And the Rocks had a good spell there. They had a few opportunities to cut it back into single figures. They didn't take those opportunities, and as a result, they're 18 down at the end of 3.
You have to be ruthless when you're playing against Leicester. You can't switch off. If you get that momentum, you have to seize it, grasp it, and never let it go. But the Riders, we know how good they can be at turning the screw. Pulled away again, 18-point gap getting into the third. The Rocks with a huge mountain to climb.
So we're at the end of 3. It's Glasgow 40, Leicester 58. Well, the teams are out and ready to go. The clock hasn't quite reached 0 yet, and given the problems they had in the second quarter, they don't want to stop it and reset it. Oh, they are going to do that. They've had a few problems with this scoreboard tonight. I think that's fair to say. Oh, shouldn't have stopped it. It's frozen at 12.1 now.
Let's hope this isn't the clock they're using in Glasgow for Hogmanay celebrations. Otherwise, everyone will be hanging on to 2013 just that little bit longer.
Here we go then with fourth quarter action. Leicester leading by 18. Their lead was as many as 20 in the first half. It was down to 10 in the third quarter, but it hasn't been single figures since the opening exchanges. Sullivan drives in, gets it to Rowe. Rowe with a little 17-foot jump shot that doesn't go, and Marco Tullio with the rebound. Here's Harrison. Harrison round the high screen, backs out. Marco Tullio down low to Northern. Bit of a gamble there from Rowe. Did well to recover, but Northern goes through the defense and converts.
Yeah, and that's what it was working for them in the third quarter, was getting into the paint and forcing Leicester to be aggressive. And can they repeat that again? They lost that momentum. Can they regain it, Glasgow, and get back into this game?
Here's Sullivan, as he so often is. Oh, good cut back door by Anderson. Anderson is blocked, gets his own rebound. Ball is not loose, and the buzzer goes, so that'll be a shot clock violation on Leicester, I think.
But great defensive reaction there from Northern. Saw the danger. We thought for a minute Anderson had been left open, but he reacted, got in the challenge, forced the turnover. But it's offense that Glasgow really need to get going here. Just 42 points through those 3 quarters. Leicester back to that sort of form that they were showing early in the season when they were holding teams to 40 points.
Well, they're 16 points down, and their best quarter so far in the game has been 18 points. They're going to have to... Oh, Murray backdoor to the alley-oop, and he jams it down.
Nice
Super pass.
Nice play there, and Murray just using his speed. The defense didn't react, didn't see him there. And great recognition from Marco Tullio.
Gamble drives in, dumps it back out to Washington, sets his feet from behind the arc. That is off the back of the ring. Kuznov knocks it loose, but Harrison does come up with it. Here come the Rocks again, trying to grapple back that momentum. Inside to Northern. Northern traveled with it, did he? Yes, he did, said the referee up top. He just had that little sway from left to right, moved his feet before he got the ball down. Rocks with some full court pressure, really only just to make the inbound a little slower, nothing too serious. Kuznov gets it from the handover from Sullivan. Washington has it batted back to him. Rowe at the elbow, had to fire that high. Sullivan underneath is fouled, I think. Referees are going to just check which one of them fouled him. It was earlier Marco Tullio who was in close attention, and it's Fran Early who's called for the foul.
Great to see the trust here that Rob Paternoster is putting in Connor Washington off the bench. You know, we knew it would be up to him and Jorge Calvo to try and fill the playmaker role tonight. He's stuck with Washington, who's done very well. And of course, further down that bench, they've got young Levi Noel, which older watchers of the BBL remember his father, Leon, a great player at Milton Keynes and Ware, I think, Daniel, back in his day. And you know, Rob believing that at some point in the near future he can be a contributor, went over to college in the States, and now waiting his turn in the BBL.
Northern, good interior passing with the from the Rocks, gets him an easy score.
In fact, Rob telling me that playing or coaching a player whose father that he played against made him feel very old.
Yeah, I bet it does. Travelled on Rowe there. And I thought Rob Paternoster was going to call a timeout the way he walked to the table there, but it is just a substitution with Rowe being replaced by Hassan. Rocks, 13 points. You just wonder if they can get it into single figures, what it does for their psyche. Not managed to do that yet. Marco Tullio in the corner for 3 hits, and it's down to 10. And now Rob Paternoster does call a timeout with 7:20 to go.
Well, Marco Tullio had missed his first 3 shots, hadn't really looked on form tonight, off range, but we knew at some point he was going to catch fire, and just at the right moment now, 10.7 minutes in it, the crowd had been a morgue at times, has woken up in this second half as the Rocks have made runs. But can you now get a couple of stops and break that rhythm? They've done it at times during this second half, but it's about getting a stop at one end, transferring at the other, not making turnovers, taking advantage of every single possession that you can, and trying to put Leicester under more and more pressure. We know they'll deal with it, but you want to keep slugging and hitting those punches and hoping that some of those are going to land here, bringing it down to even less and less in this game.
Well, they had some opportunities in the third quarter to get it into single figures. I mean, I think it was Northern had a really close one that he probably should have scored. They had a few fast break opportunities that they should have converted on, but they weren't able to do it there. But they've shown they can get the stops in this sort of scenario, and they've shown they can string points together, because obviously the lead was out to 18, and they've started here with a 9-1 run here in the fourth quarter. Washington, Kuznov, Gamble now. Hassan wants it down low, gets it down low, squares up too early, backs him down. Good head fake, gets the man up in the air. Northern knocks it loose. Northern keeps it alive, and the Rocks get to run here. Here's Harrison. Harrison chasing back, goes, and the foul is called, and they have got it into single figures, and they can cut it to 7 here from the free throw line with E.J. Harrison.
Well, we talked a minute ago there about getting a stop, getting the transition, getting the finish at the other end, and that's exactly what they did early. And Northern combining for the double team, and Hassan forced that turnover. Harrison getting up court. Now the chance to cut it. And this crowd willing their team on to make this an exciting contest to finish off 2013 with a bang.
52-59, less than 7 to go here at the Emirates. Close as it's been. Oh, wide open. Sullivan down the lane. Couldn't quite convert. Northern got there, committed the foul. But that was just a mental switch off. Sullivan turned around and couldn't believe he had the whole lane in front of him. Northern got there in the end to commit his second foul.
Yeah, and Sullivan, you almost think, well, he just didn't expect that there. He should have finished that off. You'd expect him to finish that off, but he can still punish them now from the foul line. Doesn't get that one, though.
Leicester struggling from the free throw line here today. 50% from this distance. It has been a bit of an Achilles heel for them at times, and he's missed them both. I think it was a game against Plymouth where they missed about 15 free throws and still won the game handily, but can't give away all these freebies. Three-point shot is up. It doesn't go. Sullivan with the rebound. Big ooh from the crowd as Fran Early's shot rimmed out. They've really come to life. Tried
gasping at how ugly that shot looked. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Washington 3 doesn't go. Saved by Cousinard, and he somehow gets away there. Sullivan, now he fires up for 3. That doesn't go either, and this time Early grabs the rebound. Bit early in the shot clock, that for Sullivan. Harrison almost had it stolen away by Cousinard. Hands over to Murray. 6 to play here. Murray drives. Murray looked like he got a little barge there, but play on. And Northern inside is fouled by Hassan. I think that's only his second. And Daniel Northern will go to the free throw line. No, he won't. Judged to be on the floor there. He's gone to the free throw line. I thought it was 2 free throws, but the referee saying that will be an end-line possession for Glasgow.
I think in football that's called simulation. When you've been fouled, you think if I throw my 2 hands up in the air in a shot-type movement, I might get that call.
Jorge Calvo back into the game for the first time in a long time. Remember, he's on 4 fouls. Jamal Anderson also coming in for Harrison Gamble. Harrison to inbound, gets it to Murray for 3. No, front rims it. Ball is loose though, and Harrison comes up with it. Murray calling for a screen, gets one from Early. Anderson jumps out to it. Good defense from Anderson. Tough shot from Murray. Oh, and the ball is loose again, and the Rocks come up with it when Leicester should have got it. Harrison now for 3. No, still doesn't go. Rocks still keep it alive, and it's laid in. And that will be a delay of game warning by the Rocks as Early got the ball and put it down on the floor. But more importantly, he put the ball through the basket, and it's cut down to 5 here with just over 5 to play.
Well, that was just sheer hustle, wasn't it? Persistence and hustle, just never giving up in the play, fighting for that loose ball. They weren't doing that in the first half. They slipped back. Now they've come alive. They know they've got an opportunity here. They're scrapping and battling to make sure they push Leicester all the way to the wire.
Defense, the cry from the home fans. It's got really loud in here in the last minute or 2. Calvo around the screen. Dumps it down low to Sullivan. Shot clock down to 6. Sullivan has to go here. He's not looking at the basket. Gets it out to Calvo. Calvo a long way behind the arc for 3. He's done it again! Second time on the end of the shot clock. He's nailed a big 3.
Yeah, and the Rocks dared him to shoot that. They gambled on it, and the gamble didn't pay off. But now, can they show the same sort of aggression again on offense?
Harrison threw it inside, and that'll be a holding foul on Jamal Anderson. And that will be his 3rd personal foul. End line ball to the Rocks. 4:41 on the clock. They trail by 8. It's thrown in. It was in the vague direction of Early. It did get there in the end. Harrison, big shot for 3! What a shot from E.J. Harrison in the corner.
Now it's down to 5. Now the pressure's on. The Rocks coming full court here, trying to force a turnover, get a stop, break the rhythm.
Again, the noise. Defense cranked up. Calvo, Leicester trying to take some air out of the ball here as well. Cousinard drives in, Cousinard to the hole, and he's fouled by Murray reaching in. And Jay Cousinard will go to the free throw line. Leicester just 8 of 17 from this distance today. Have to do better down the stretch.
The Rocks recognizing them, that the struggles there. You know, you take Defense is not, as people think sometimes, about stopping every shot. It's about forcing the worst possible shot for your opponent, and sometimes that's from the free throw line. And here they're going to test him. They're going to say, you've got to come and beat us. We've got ourselves back within touching distance. You've got to drag yourselves over the line. We won't pull you there.
Well, Kuznov does make them both. That was 2 big shots for the Riders, number 5. Here they come with the full court pressure. Got to get the ball in here. They just got it in within 5 seconds. And Marco Tullio brings it forward. 4 to play. Ooh, Calvert gambled on that. Couldn't quite come up with the steal. Harrison waited for him to recover, though. Gets it too early. Northern wants it in the lane. He's still in the lane, Northern. Now it's Marco Tullio. Marco Tullio slightly out of control there as he drives to the basket. The foul is on Anderson. And that'll be his 4th. And that will be 2 free throws.
That was smart play, though, from Marco Tullio. The gap opened up. He doesn't perhaps have the quickness to get past Anderson, but knowing that if he gets in there, he can still draw the foul even if the shot didn't open up. And now he goes to the line with an opportunity to make this a 5-point game once more.
Clean as you like on the first one. Well, we said they needed a big 4th quarter. This has been their most productive quarter of the game so far, the Rocks. And they've cut the lead down to 5. Kuznov. Kuznov drives in off the glass, doesn't quite go. Hassan keeps it alive. Anderson gets it. Leicester can reset here. Anderson needs some help, gets it from Sullivan. Out to Kuznov for 3. Looked like he got caught on that, but nothing doing. And the Rocks get the rebound, a chance to make it a 1-shot game. Inside to Northern. Northern backs down, then runs away. Little float, a good rebound from Murray. And there's a foul underneath. I think Kuznov had hold. And Murray will go to the line for 2 free throws.
Intelligent play there from Murray. Just thought, I can draw this foul here. I can get inside. I'm off balance, but I still have to make sure I get the contact and get myself to the line. A chance to even up the pressure more.
Oh, first one rims out. Normally a good foul shooter, Gareth Murray. Makes the second, though. No full court press this time from the Rocks. 4 points between them, 3 minutes to play. Drama here at the Emirates. Didn't always look likely, but a good fight back by the home team. Anderson to Sullivan. 6 on the shot clock. Sullivan under pressure gets the shot. Oh my goodness, you're kidding me, what a shot from Sullivan.
Yeah, right in Murray's face there, but again, the Rocks forcing tough shots. If your opponent makes them, so be it. The defense is still holding strong here.
Harrison's shot is short, and that's tipped out of bounds by Sullivan. He just grabs his head in frustration. And the Rocks coming up with some key offensive rebounds down the stretch here.
Yeah, I mean, not their strongest suit, but they're really stepping up here. Timeout called. Being nervous faces in that Leicester bench. Barry Lamble standing up, with rallying his teammates back into the huddle here. But you know, it has been about the fight, and we saw that in the first half. The fight really wasn't there from Glasgow. They came out flat. Daniel Northern, of course, told us at halftime they were worried. They're not practicing for those few days over Christmas. Sterling Davis gave them 3 days off. Some players stayed here. Some went off to visit their families elsewhere in the country. But you know, they were concerned that they maybe wouldn't have that same momentum. It took 20 minutes really for them to wake up, but now they're back in it. The crowd's back in the game. But can they close it? 6 points, still a healthy lead, but not enough for Leicester to sit comfortably on. Glasgow, a stop here, a stop there. Really a very enticing prospect and a very exciting finish ahead, perhaps.
Well, what they won't want to do is come up with nothing here, having got this opportunity with an offensive rebound, a chance for some second chance points. Because while they can keep it under 6, they'll have a really good shot at it. What they don't want to do is see Leicester come down, take time off the clock, and then get a basket at the other end and stretch it back out to 8. So an important play here for the Rocks.
Just a look elsewhere, of course, Ches Marks left here just last month, signed for London Lions. They've beaten Newcastle Eagles this weekend. Getting very interesting at the top of the table and in that middle pack as well. Teams beating each other. Leicester really want to make sure they get that win to stay pace with Worcester at the top.
Harrison, tough shot, bobbles out, and Sullivan again, he just can't grasp it. So it's twice on this play. Sullivan almost had a defensive rebound. It just bobbled away from him. Of course, Worcester top the table going into the new year. Leicester, as it stands, have the fewest defeats of any team, but not if they don't hang on here, they won't. Harrison. Harrison got the little step there. Good reach from Sullivan to knock it loose. Northern driving in. A tough one off the glass, doesn't go, and finally Leicester pulled down a defensive rebound. Rowe looking for some help, finds it from Calvo. And again, Leicester, they've been trying to run a bit of clock here in the last few minutes, will likely do so again. Rowe offers the high screen. Sullivan puts the ball on the floor, drives in, it's not loose, but it does get its way to Anderson. Rowe probably could have shot that, the shot clock's getting low. Calvo drives in, Calvo, what a play, doesn't go, didn't hit the ring, that won't count. That won't count for the follow by Cousinard, because the ball did not hit the ring. And really, Rowe had that shot there. Probably should have took it with about 6 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, Glasgow got out of jail a little bit here, but you go back to that previous offense with that shot, that little hook from Northern. That's not his shot. 12 seconds left in the shot clock. You've got to recognize, push it back out, look for good opportunities here, and make sure you keep that pressure on rather than making mistakes.
Here's Murray trying to free himself some space. To Davis, who's just checked in. Down low to Northern. Northern off the glass. That is his shot. Oh, it doesn't go though. Ball is loose. Rowe saves it. It's not loose. It's out of bounds. Anybody's guess who it is. The referee on the baseline says Glasgow. 1:18 to go. Still a 6-point lead. Glasgow getting all the offensive rebounds, but not putting the ball back in the hole.
No one wants to lose this one. No one wants to go into that break off the loss.
Tough shot. Great defense that was from Cousinard. He's so long, it's so hard to shoot over him. And EJ Harrison found that out the hard way. Just over a minute to play. Leicester with a 2-shot lead at 6 points. And that's a foul off the ball on Marco Tullio as Cousinard was trying to get free. And he just had hold of him. I think they're over the limit, aren't they? No, they're not. It's Leicester who's over the limit. That is the 4th on the rock. So Leicester get the ball from the side. Shot clock resets to 14. They do get it to Cousinard now. The Rocks fans get on their feet. They need a stop desperately here, Glasgow. What was that called?
A little bit of debate between the officials here. Glasgow trying to call a timeout.
I don't even know what the call was. Do you know what the call was?
Very curious.
Well, Rob Paternostra is asking the question as well. Well, I'm sorry, folks. I'm none the wiser as to what the call was on that play.
I think the referees, the other two officials might be none the wiser as well. A little bit of discussion explaining it to each other there. But anyway, the Rocks calling that timeout. It will be their possession here. So Russ Hutton, the assistant coach, reacting swiftly there to make sure they can talk this over. Try and set something up. Do you go for the 3 and try and put more pressure? You know, maybe 2-3 possessions left in this game. Perhaps you go to your outside shooters. Not been the strongest tonight from outside. But here they really have a chance to set something up.
There's some suggestion it might have been a 5-second violation on Cousinard, but he'd not dribbled the ball, and there was no pressure on the defense. So that would seemingly rule that out for 2 reasons, but who knows? But whatever, it's a big play because it gives the Rocks the ball back with 50 seconds to go and without conceding any points, which was the key thing for them on that play. Here's Northern trying to get it back to Harrison, who just about kept it alive. Going around the high screen. Murray stumbles through, gets it to Davis with the jump shot. Doesn't go. Another offensive rebound. Marco Tullio misses. Ball batted up in the air, and somehow Rowe comes down with it, and that's a foul by Marco Tullio, trying to stop the clock. But again, Glasgow with the offensive rebound, unable to come up with points.
You need to convert. You can't miss those kind of opportunities, and now they had to foul there. It's reached that stage. Anthony Rowe with the chance to go down the other end and open up the gap again. But again, it's that look. You know, Glasgow have done a good job in this second half of finding opportunities, those backdoor cuts that Leicester were getting away with in that first period. It bodes well for them in a sense going forward, but you know, perhaps if they slip away here, they'll look at the opportunities they'll miss.
Oh, he's short. He needs at least one here just to stretch this into a 3-shot game. Sullivan and Calvo line up just in case that happens again. He could really do with this going in, Anthony Rowe. Keeps the rocks in it if this is not converted. Oh, he does make it. Here goes Harrison. They've got to go quick. Got to go quick, the Rocks. Harrison stumbling through the lane, loses the ball, and Calvo, wisely there, Jamal Anderson saw Jorge Calvo and went, "You're a good free throw shooter, you have the ball." And Jorge will go to the line for 2.
Smart play though. But if Glasgow do lose this, they'll look back at that 10-0 start in that first quarter and think, why couldn't we play like we played in the second half? You know, we need to go into that, you know, into 2014 and try and find more consistency. They know that they knew early on the league had gone. They want to be, desperately want to be back here
Harrison
for the trophy final in March.
All sorts of words with the official. He's got to watch himself. I think he thought he got fouled as he stumbled through the double team. Marco Tullio, by the way, has fouled out, and they've made that substitution with Bunyan into the game, which is why Calvo, I cursed him, didn't I? Said, "You're a good foul shooter." Missed the first one. But it almost doesn't matter. You never say it doesn't matter, but 24 seconds to go and a 7-point lead. That should be enough for Leicester. And it's 8 now. And the Rocks are going to call a timeout in order to advance the ball. So they're going to come out. I mean, it's got to be a 3-point shot coming out of this timeout. It's got to go in. And then they hope for a steal, and if not, a quick foul.
Well, you've got to look probably at bringing Di Maria back on. He made those 2 threes early in the game. Marco Tullio, probably your best 3-point shooter. Foul that hasn't had a good night anyway. But you need a quick 3. Try and get a stop. It's a tough ask. We've seen it before, though.
I did see a game. It was 8 points in about 12 seconds, or was it 7 points in 12 seconds? Where actually there was a made free throw, missed free throw, offensive rebound, 3-pointer, steal 3-pointer.
If you put exactly those words into Google, you'll probably find that on YouTube somewhere.
Exactly, yeah. It was Lebanon, I think it was, in 2006. I think it was Lebanon. Anyway, we're in Glasgow, and it's the Rocks who need to find 8 points in 23.9 to be exact. So, I mean, I'm sure Rob Paternostro said, defend the 3-point line, no fouls. Probably said a bit more than that in the timeout, but that would have been the principal message.
That's the sanitized version.
Here's Murray. Oh, you had to shoot that. You haven't got time. You've got to shoot. And it's blocked by Sullivan, and Anderson is fouled. But they wasted way too much time there. They lost, what was it, 10 seconds to get a block shot.
That really sums up the game, isn't it? Just not quite precise enough offensive execution from Glasgow. Defense, hustle, attention from Leicester. They've executed throughout this game. Standards slipped a little in this second half. But we know that even without Anthony Downing, they will go into the new year as still as one of the teams to beat. And if they decide to go for another option, it is if they replace him and they get the right player, who knows what they could go on to achieve in 2014.
10-point lead. It's pretty much in the books, this one. Harrison, I think, will throw up a shot, will he? No, he's not that bothered. Does get it off. Misses. Oh, Kuznod loses it. Rowe gets the rebound and throws it down court, but that will do it. Leicester Riders came into the game with a massive blow, having lost their point guard, their key facilitator, one of their top scorers. But as ever with the Riders, Their defense did the job for them, holding the Rocks to only 1.5 points a minute, 60 points in total. You don't win games scoring 60 points.
And you see what a good team that they always are. They can adjust. They've always got a plan B. Rob Paternoster, with just 2 days to change things around, did it so well. Glasgow tonight came out flat, got punished for it. They still need to make adjustments, but Leicester now 7 points, or 7 victories to end 2013 with. It's all looking very good for the Riders.
It's been a perfect year for the Riders. 3 trophies, 41 wins, the latest of which has been a 70-60 victory here over the Glasgow Rocks. We've got a week off next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. We'll see the Riders again against the Newcastle Eagles. It's the BBL Cup final. Can the defending champions hold on, or will Newcastle gain their revenge? Join us for that one. For Mark Woods, I'm Daniel Routledge. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.